Hey math fans, it's test 10, lesson 1. Get your swords ready and let's go. Our objectives today are to order decimals and to solve problems by making a list. And just so you know, this is test 10. There are 17 tests this year, which means you are now more than halfway through your math curriculum. So let's talk about ordering decimals. Let's start with a quick review of decimal place value. So the first place value we're going to look at is this green one here. This is the tenths. And the reason we call that the tenths is because this is the place value where if you had a fraction out of 10, if you divided your chocolate bar, for example, into 10 parts, this is the decimal you would get. So as an example, here's a picture of some tenths, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 10 pieces highlighted, so the decimal would be 0.4, 0 and 4 tenths. So the first place value that comes after the 0 is tenths. It kind of mirrors what happens on the other side, except we skip the ones. So my next place value, this blue one, is the hundredths. So the tenths is if I divide something into 10 pieces. Hundredths is if I divide something into 100 pieces. So here's an example. This would be 10, 20, 30, 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 4 tenths and then 5 extras. So I would write that as 0.45. There are 4 tenths in there and 5 extra pieces. Okay? Or you could look at it as 45 out of 100. Same thing. And I'm going to stop drawing now. We're pulling up pictures because it's going to start getting really small. The next place value, the 3, is the thousandths. So if I did draw a picture, I would be dividing that into 1,000 little squares. And then to keep going, it keeps going exactly the same as it does on the other side of the decimal place. So over here I would have ones, and then I would have tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s. Over here I have tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Next up is 10,000ths. And you can probably guess what comes after 10,000ths. This is going to be the 100,000ths. And if I was just counting regular place value, after 100,000s is millions. So over here I'm going to have millionths. So as long as you can remember that we skip the 1 and we start at 10, because if we had ones, that wouldn't work very well for decimals. So we start at tens. As long as you can remember that, the place value is exactly the same on this side, except that it's going this way, whereas this one is going this way, and we stick a thus at the end of it. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, 100,000ths, millionths, 10 millionths, 100 millionths, billionths, and it just keeps going like that. That's your review of place value for decimals. So when it comes to ordering decimals, we want to put them in order, but you have to be careful. It says here we look at 0.42 and 0.402, and we think that this one has to be bigger because it's got more digits, because 402 would be bigger than 42. That's not how it works though. So what we're going to do is if you follow this method, you'll have a really easy way of ordering your decimals. We're going to set up a table with the decimal point in the same place for each number, put in each number, fill in the empty squares with zeros, and then compare using the first column on the left. If the digits are equal, we move to the next column to the right until one number wins. If you want ascending order, you pick the smallest first. If you want descending order, you pick the biggest first. Don't worry if that sounds complicated. I'm going to go through an example with you. So here I have 3 numbers that I want to put in ascending order. Ascending means from smallest to biggest. So I'm going to put them in a table. So I start with my 1, then my decimal point, my tenths, which in this case is 5, my hundredths, which in this place is 0, and my thousandths, which in this place is 6. Then I'll do this guy. So 1, decimal 5, 6. And then I'll do this guy, so 0, decimal 8. Now I have some spaces here and I'm going to fill those in with zeros, as you can see here. So then what I'm going to do is start on this column and compare. I've got 2 ones and a 0. Ascending order needs the smallest first, so 0 is the winner. So my answer so far is 0, decimal 8. That will be the smallest number because it is the first one to have a smaller number on the left-hand side. Now that I know 0.8 is the smallest number, I can take it right off the list and keep going. So again, I'll compare my units. I have 1 and 1. decimal point. Tenths, I have 5 tenths and 5 tenths. Those are the same, so I'm going to keep going. 0 and 6. Now remember, I want the next smallest number because I'm going in ascending order, which is going up like a staircase ascends. So I want the next smallest number. 0 is smaller than 6, so that's going to be my next number I put down here. 0.8 was the smallest. 1.506 is the next smallest because it had a 0 in the hundredths place. And then of course I've only got one number left, so it must be the largest. That means that in ascending order, my numbers are 0.8, 1.506, and 1.56. I'm done. So now you give it a try. Here are 4 numbers and I'd like you to put them in descending order. Pause the video here, give it a try, and when you come back I'll have the answer for you. Okay, so I put these guys in a chart again. So I'll start with my units, and they are all zeros, so that doesn't help me. I have the decimal place next, of course, and that doesn't help me either. So next I'll move on here, and I have 2 8s and 2 1s. I want these in descending order, which means I want the biggest numbers first. That means I'm going to have to look at these two guys. 8s are bigger than 1s, so these two are going to be my number 1 and 2 spot. But I don't know in what order yet, so I'm going to keep going. And for now I'm just looking at these guys. So I'll look 1s, that doesn't help me. 3s, that doesn't help me. Here I have a 4 and a 2 though, and that does help me. So I want the biggest number first. 4 is bigger than 2, so that means the first number in my list will be that top one, and the second number will be the bottom one. Those are the two biggest numbers. And the top one is bigger because it has a 4, whereas this guy only has a 2. This is still going to be bigger than these two though because it has an 8 where these guys only have 1s. Now I can look at my bottom two numbers, and I'm just going to switch colors. So 8s, that doesn't help me at all. But next I have a 2 and a 3, and that does help me. So I want the next biggest number. 3 is bigger than 2, so this will be my next biggest number. And then by process of elimination, this guy's going to be the smallest number because it's the only one left. So when you're comparing these decimal numbers, it looks complicated, but really just compare one number at a time and keep in mind whether they're supposed to be getting bigger or smaller. Let's move on to solving problems by making a list. So here's a problem. Mrs. Toms bought some stickers for her students. If she gave each student 4 stickers, she would be 1 sticker short. If she gave each student 3 stickers, she would have 8 stickers left. How many students did she have altogether? So I'm going to solve this problem by making a chart, and I need to think about my information. Remember our problem solving steps? We're going to figure out the question we're answering, how many students did she have altogether, and then pull out the important information, which is that if she gave everyone 4 stickers, she would be 1 short, which means that her students are going to be a group of 4 less 1. And if she gave everyone 3 stickers, she would have 8 left over, which means that her students have to be a multiple of 3 plus 8. Alright, so this is one of those things where it's easier to just show you what I'm doing than explain it. So there's 2 conditions that have to be true for this problem. The first is that if she gave each student 4 stickers, she would be 1 sticker short. And the second is if she gives them 3 stickers, she would have 8 stickers left. I don't know how many stickers she has, and I don't know how many students she has, so I'm going to guess. So this is my, hang on a sec, there we go. This is my first set of guesses. I'm guessing that she has 1 student. So if she gives 1 student 4 stickers, she would have to give them 4 stickers, and she would be 1 short, because it says she would be 1 sticker short, so she would have 3 left. Then she would give out 3 stickers and have 8 extra, so that would mean she would give her 1 student 3 stickers, and her 8 extras would give her 11. Now, if she has 1 student, these 2 numbers should match because it tells me that those 2 things are both true for her students. These don't match, which means she can't have 1 student, so I'm going to try a different number. I'll say maybe she has 2 students. So if she has 2 students, then 2 times 4 is 8, but she would be 1 short, so she would have 7 stickers. And 2 times 3, if she gave each student 3, is 6. And she would have 8 extra, so that would be 14. So that doesn't work either. it would mean that she had to have 7 here and 14 here. These need to be the same because she has the same number of stickers. She doesn't change how many stickers she has based on how many kids she has. So now I'll try 3 kids. So if there's 3 kids in her class, 3 times 4 is 12, minus 1 is 11. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 8 is 17. Numbers don't match, but you'll notice they are getting closer. These are 8 apart, these are 7 apart, these are 6 apart. So I've got a pretty good guess about how far I'm going to have to go to get to the right answer. So 4, if I try it, 4 times 4 is 16, take away 1 is 15, 4 times 3 is 12, plus 8 is 20. Not a match, but now I'm only 5 apart. So I'll keep going. 5 doesn't work, 6 doesn't work, 7 doesn't work, 8 doesn't work, but on 9, I finally see that I have the same number in both of those spots. So she must have 9 students. So I'll write a sentence to that effect and make sure that it answers the question. Okay? So all I really did here is I figured out what the question was telling me, and then I made a chart to show each possibility until I got to one that worked. If she has 9 students and gives each of them 4, 9 times 4 is 36, but she's going to be 1 short, so she would have 35 stickers. If she gave each kid 27, she would have 8 extra, which would also be 35. That's my answer. So here's another one that you can try. 2 empty tanks are being filled with water. Water flows into tank A at a rate of 15 liters per minute for 3 minutes, then stops. After 3 minutes, water starts flowing into tank B at a rate of 20 liters per minute. How long will it take for the 2 tanks to have 220 liters of water altogether? So I've started the chart for you here. Tank A, tank B, and total. So after 0 minutes, obviously there is 0 liters of water in tank A, 0 liters of water in tank B, and 0 liters of water altogether. After 1 minute, the problem tells me that water will start flowing into tank A at a rate of 15 liters per minute. So after 1 minute, tank A will get 15 liters, tank B will get 0, and the total water in both tanks will be 15 liters. So I'm going to keep going on and try to find out how many meters it will take before my total down here is 220 liters. And remember that you're going to add how much water flows in, and then you're going to have to add that to this number to get your total. There's already 15 liters of water in tank A right now, so whatever gets added here will get added to that 15 liters for your total. Pause the video here, excuse me, and see if you can figure it out, and when you come back I'll have the answer for you. And here's your answer. So as you can see, for the first 3 minutes, water is flowing into tank A for 15 liters per minute, with nothing happening in tank B, and we keep adding 15, 30, 45. After 3 minutes, the water stops going into tank A, but it starts coming into tank B at 20 liters a minute. So now I'm adding 20 liters, so 65, 85, 105, 125, 145. I had to go to the next line. 165, 185, 205, 225. So it will take 12 minutes before both of the tanks combined have 220 liters of water altogether. And I apologize, this is probably the longest lesson we've had, and it's longer than I like to make them, but that's how long it took. So this will be probably the longest lesson you ever have. 2 quick review questions. Put these numbers in descending order. And a green car leaves town at 8 a.m. and travels 60 kilometers per hour. A red car leaves town 2 hours later and travels 80 kilometers per hour in the same direction. At what time does the red car catch up to the green car? You'll need to make a list to help yourself solve that problem. Hopefully that'll only take you a few minutes and you will be done. See you tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye-bye.